All right. Hello everyone. Welcome to the Exampreptool. Do you want to start your career in the IT industry? Worried about how to start and where to start? That is the reason we have launched brand new unique courses which will help you to crack your high paid dream jobs. What is that course, sir? As you can see that a new program which is industry ready course on DSA and Oracle Database with a real time project. Right? So you all know that nowadays data related roles are becoming so much popular. They are paid very well, right? But industry is always expecting the skilled professionals who can work on the projects independently and who can provide the solutions to the real world business problems, right? And the fundamental question is you should ask is that since the demand in the market is very high for the data related roles, are you good at a database technologies like SQL and PLSQL? Do you have a good problem solving ability? Which is, are you able to solve any algorithmic related problems? Are you good at data structures and algorithms? Being a computer science student, are you able to handle a large volume of data? Right? Being a computer science student, are you able to automate the database related activities? Are you able to provide an optimized solution to your business problem? Please try to question all these things. If not, if answer is no, if not, this is the perfect course for you, where we will be covering each and everything. What is that? Industry ready course on DSA and Oracle Database. Right? What is that? Industry ready course on data structures and algorithms, also Oracle Database with a real time project. Right? Please try to question yourself before joining anything. Right? And after completing the course, what kind of roles you can expect? Right? What kind of roles you can expect, sir? So if you complete this course, you can start your career as a database developer or data analyst. Since you are learning data structures and algorithm, if you learn the Python syntaxes and semantics, then you can very well try for the data analyst roles as well. And also this is very much sufficient course for starting your career as a data engineer and data scientist related positions. Let me tell you one thing. So for data engineers and data analyst roles, data scientist roles, so you need to add little more other technologies as well. So this course will become a very strong foundation for learning the other technologies as well. Right? In this course, we are going to start everything from the very basic level, from the scratch, and we will take you to the level where you can work on the very complex problems also. Right? And one more thing, so whenever you are learning any technologies, don't just learn the technology, try to become a master in the technology so that job searching process will become so much easier to you. Are you getting? Yes. And one more important thing is that in case any of you struggling in career with a lot of career gap, I don't know what to do, and you want to start the career in the IT industry, so this course can help you to restart your career very properly, very strategically. So whatever required to restart your career, we are going to provide from our side. What is that, sir? Since we are saying this course will start from the very basic level and we will take you to the very advanced level. So once the course, after completing the course, you need to start working on the real-time project. For that, we will give the guidance properly. So you have to complete the real-time project. exactly similar to the industry, right? And after completing the course, you are going to get a course completion certificate. Along with that, if required, if you want to cover your career gap, if required, if necessary, on demand, if you request us, then we are going to provide you the experience certificate, which will be really relevant for the industry, which is relevant for the industry, right? So using that experience certificate, you can very well start your job searching process by covering the some experience, maybe 2 years or 3 years experience, right? For that, you have to prepare very well. You need to build a strong, solid foundation in such a way that your first interview will be the last interview. Are you getting? And also one more important thing is that when you before you start the job searching process, it is recommended that you try to build a strong portfolio and showcase your skill set there and start job searching process. And you have to keep only one thing in mind, that your first interview will be the last interview, right? Yes. So in this course, we are going to take only limited set of people so that we can concentrate on each and every student very properly. So that is the reason we have a limit on the number of intake of students, right? Enroll today and start your learning journey so that you can work on the projects, right? You can contact us if you have any concerns. You can very well send a message. We will reply properly. We will give more information, right? All right. In the previous lecture, we have seen the basic fundamental definitions of database and database management system, right? Then we have to understand why DBMS, right? So in the today's lecture, so we will be concentrating on why DBMS is required. So before DBMS comes into existence, what are the different ways of data storing mechanisms, right? And why are we using the DBMS over other approaches, right? So if you want to use the DBMS, so you have to understand what are the other ways of data storage mechanism, what are the disadvantages, how DBMS is overcoming all of this, right? So that means we have to understand a traditional way of data storing. What are the different approaches available? Are you getting? What are the different way of data storage mechanism before DBMS? Right. The first one is the manual way. Okay, you can say it is a pre-computer era. Everything is a paper based. And the next one is computer based. That means you are storing the data in the files, right? And the next one is the file management system. It is a more organized way of storing the data in the form of the files, and also you are adding programmatical capabilities to the system to store the data, right? And the next, our actual topic, which is a DBMS, database management system, which is a more secure, scalable, and a very smart way of storing the data, right? So here we will focus on the manual storage first, and then we will go to the files, computer based, and then we will move ahead with the next approach, which is a file management system. Then finally we will see the ideal features of the database management system. Let us understand the manual storage, which is paper based, right? How does business store the data permanently? Let us assume you have some business and you wanted to store the data permanently for obvious reasons, right? What do you do? Tell me. Assume you are a non-technical person. You don't know anything about the recent technologies or maybe the tools required to store the data. What is the way that our elders adopted to store the data? Yes, we have seen already hint also. Can you tell me what is that? Before computers, business maintained the data, everything on the books, right? In the books and the registers, right? Everything is a manual approach only. So these paper records were kept in a wooden cabinets and shelves and all, right? And if you wanted to check something, some data, and they had to search through the pages and the files. Are you getting? That is how they used to store the data for a longer time. So what are the books actually? So the registers that I am telling, right, the manual way. So they used to call it as a this is the one form of examples. There may be some other also some other registers, some other books as well, right? In a general way, in a more general way, you can say that it is a, in terms of business, you can say that ledger books and the sales registers and petty cash books, right? Are you getting? So ledger books for the sales and expenses purpose, you can say. The sales register for tracking your daily transaction. Petty cash books for small daily spendings. Okay, maybe you can say it is a kind of a personal purpose, petty cash books. Okay, they used to consider these records were permanent, and because they were storing in the cabinets for further references and all. But remember, permanent doesn't mean always that it is a reliable. There are so many issues are there, right? If it is a paper based approach, then it is having lot of problems. So we have to understand that. So the purpose of this lecture is to to introduce you to the terminologies, most frequently used terminologies in the database. So once you understand the terminologies, then everything will become very easy in later point of time, right? That is why we're going very in-depth minor details also. For example, if you see here, we are just talking about earlier days before. So they used to store everything on the paper. You can see this how this person is storing the data. Imagine, right? Imagine you're working in a small shop or something like that, right? So how did they store the data? Something like this, right? And we will see now exactly how this ledger books looks like, and sales register and petty cash books, right? Images. Carefully observe. You might have seen in government organizations, government sector in the 10 years back or maybe 20 years back, right? They used to maintain everything on the paper with respect to the income certificate and so many other certificates, right? Now everything is gone to online, right? Next one is the sales register is used to look like this. And then petty cash, bunch of petty caches books, right? So now let us understand, right? Now the fundamental question is, suppose let's say you have some business. How did assume that in ancient days, in olden days, how did the companies used to store the data when they had a very limited set of customers? Let us assume you are running a small grocery store in your village, maybe 40 years or 30 years back, right? Can you tell me what is the way? Just now we have seen that you know all the customers most probably, right, in villages, and you record the each sale in the ledger book or maybe the cash book, right? You store all of these papers in the inside a wooden cabinet, right? Right? It is very easy and very simple. Does not need any kind of special tools or techniques. No need of any programmatical capabilities or something like that, right? Nothing. Simple records, simple files and folders, you can keep it in somewhere and store it for the further reference. But the main important question here is, so what if the business is growing, right? What happens when the business grows? That is our main concentration here. Are you getting? So what if business grows? Okay, so far we have seen a small store can manage using the paper based records, right? Good. But now let us imagine the business is doing really well and started growing, right? So obviously data also growing along with the business, right? Right? That means you can say when the business is growing, more customers are coming up and more sales is happening and more inventory you have to manage and more invoices you have to look after, right? So now let us see what really happens behind the scenes when the small business becomes the supermarket or chain of stores, right? What happens in the behind? Tell me, right? If you observe carefully here, so it will, when the business is growing, it increases the data. You can say records, right? And it is really impossible to write each and everything in a one single ledger. You have to maintain a sales register separately and you have to maintain a returns register separately, right? And supplier book and stock inventory and petty cash books and expenses books and maybe even a credit customer logs. There are so many log books as well, right? There are so many books that you have to maintain separately. All are manually filled and stored in the files or cabinets, right? Observe carefully, right? One wrong entry or one missing page, and boom, you lost, right? Because so when you adopt this paper-based approach, if something wrong happens in this one particular page, and if you look after maybe if you wanted to go back and look about that particular record, and if it is not there, then it will create a lot of issues, right, with respect to the business. Meaning, suppose let's say there is one customer and is coming and asking is last 6 months back a sales related information, purchase related information, and if it is not there, then what will happen? You lose the trust. Means you're not managing it properly. Based on his interest, you have to give him some kind of products, right? Yeah, you can see here when the business is growing, lot of things that are having a problem, right? In terms of data, managing the data, you need to maintain the multiple books and more employees is required, right? There is a chance of that lot of redundancy will happen, lot of human errors will also increase, right? And one more important thing is that there is no chance of here in this approach, there is no chance of backup and recovery. Are you getting? There is no chance of backup and recovery. So what so from this approach, like what you can understand, think. So this is the where the businesses are realized that we can't run like this a small store anymore. So we need something smart, faster and safer approach. So that is why they moved to the digital system. the computer based storage. Are you getting? And there are a lot of problems are there. We will see one by one, right? Look at this example. Earlier we said if it is a small scale, if it is a very kind of small with a limited customers, the business with a limited customers, it is somehow you can manage. When the business is growing, trouble will start slowly. So right. So in order to handle all possible situations, right, you have to come up with a unique approach and smart way of data storing, right? Yes. Now you have to understand one more important thing is that when the business is growing, there are problems also. There are a lot of problems also coming up with respect to the paper-based approach. Suppose let's say when you want to search something that already we have discussed in the previous slide, right? Since everything is manual, searching becomes kind of difficult. Data retrieval becomes kind of very difficult. Okay, maybe you can search previous this current maybe 1 day data, 2 day data, maybe 1 week data. But what about you wanted to search the 1 year back data, maybe 6 months back data, 2 years back data, right? It is very difficult, right? Suppose let's say the data wherever you are storing, if it is having a open access, anyone come and anyone can tamper the data, maybe change the data, they steal the books, and there is a chance of that there may be because of accidentally sometimes, maybe you can think of the fire accident. If the books are damaging means once damaged you can't even recover it, right? Are you getting what I'm saying? Yes. And one more important thing is that so when data is grows and when you are using more and more books, and there may be chance that some duplicate entries will be there, some invalid entries will be there, right? How can you handle those things? Are you getting terminology? Try to focus on the terminologies what I'm using, because this is the starting point for all these terminologies will be useful for the database, understanding the features of the database. Once you understand the features of the database, then journey will become very easy for you and the next to understand the next things, right? So this is what I am discussing, right? So what are the different problems that are there when the business is growing, when you are adopted paper based approach, right? Since you are selected as a storage medium as a books, which is a paper based approach, right? What are the problems are there? Data security problems are there if it is have open access to the people, and scalability is there. When the business is growing, how can you handle that situation? How can you serve better, whether it is supporting the scalability, if it is your approach is a paper based approach, and what about the durability, right? Yes, even if you are adapting also paper based approach, you have to store the data for a longer period of time. Because of some reason, if the paper is damaging, then what will happen? You can't get the data back, right? Very serious problem. And one more important thing is that data sharing, the very important feature of the one of the important feature of the database. We will see during that point of time, but now we will confine ourselves to the few important other things as well. Okay, we will cover 1 or 2 points, what is the data sharing exactly, and then one more important problem is the data consistency, right? And other thing is that multi-user access, right? Suppose let's say there are multiple departments are there in your business. Okay, you need to look for one customer related data. Since you have multiple departments, how can they share the data between them? How can multiple users see that particular customer data at a time, right? Are you able to catch what I'm saying, right? Now you need to generate, you need to create some kind of reports related to the your sales, in terms of charts, bar graphs. You are able to see, right? In the olden days we used to have a graphs, right? So everything, even in the graphs also, you need to everything manually you have to write, and you have to draw the graph manually with respect to the sales or maybe whatever the reports that you wanted to see, right? Everything is manual, becoming very headache, right? It is kind of super difficult. And what about the backup and recovery? So nowadays all modern businesses, they adopted as some kind of automation, right? whether whether our paper based approach is having a, automation support, right? And this paper based storage medium, storage support, right? So what kind of businesses it is very much suitable, right? Are you getting? So we will see all the problems one by one, okay? So these are the problems that we have identified during the paper based storage mechanism, right? But we will see these terminologies in a more detailed way, and then we will understand the files. If you store the data, and then we will move ahead and store the data in a more smarter way than the physical books, okay? Which is the files, right? Let us see the terminologies one by one, okay? What is the criteria? Okay, the first one is a storage medium. Storage medium. Back then, you know that there is no computers at all, there is no tools as such, right? So everything was written on paper, like we have seen the ledgers and registers, a notebook, petty cash books. Imagine a big room full of files, folders stacked in a dusty cabinets, right? We used to see in the government offices, right? Yeah. So that is all about storage medium. That is a simply it is a paper based approach, right? What about the data search and data retrieval? What about the data search and retrieval? You are storing the data in a books, right? If you want to search the data and if you want to retrieve the data, then what is the issues with that? It is extremely slow. Extremely slow. Why? So you wanted to find a bill from the 3 months ago's bills, or maybe 6 months back, 1 year back data. So you need to search each and everything manually, kind of linear search you have to do, right? You have to go through each and every cabinet, each and every book, each and every page. It is very slow and time consuming and very much inefficient, right? One of the big problem, right? And what about the security? Here, since we are telling that everything is on paper, there is no control, proper control, access control. There is no password and username and password approach here, okay? There is no locks. Anyone can view the data. They could access it and tamper the data. And sensitive business data could easily be leaked, okay? Causing a lot of security issues, right? And then see the durability. So you know that since everything in paper, right? So durability is very low, very poor, you can say, right? Because paper does not last forever, right? You can't store everything on a paper for a longer time because it may damage very easily because of fire, because of water, because of pest, whatever may be the reason. You can't store data lifelong. At certain point of time, all the data will go, because of it will damage very easily, right? What about the scalability? What about the scalability? Very poor, right? As the business as your business is grows, so your paperwork also will increase. So you will end up needing more cabinets. You require more cabinets, more space, and more people to manage the clutter, all this clutter. Are you getting? Yes. What about the backup and recovery? You can't even think of backup and recovery, right? Once the damage is happened, that's it, over. If paper is lost or damaged, there is no backup. And you can't even manage for each and every book as a backup book, right? For each and every record, you can't manage a backup, right? So there is no reliable backup. You will lose the data very easily, right? What is the next thing is that uh, data sharing. Very, very inefficient, because like I said in previous slide, suppose let's say some customers data, some business data you wanted to share among multiple departments, maybe sales department, maybe delivery department, right? Maybe the returns department, finance department. You wanted to share among the data. There is no other option maintaining the multiple duplicate copies. Are you getting? You have to maintain a multiple duplicate copies, right? It is very, very inefficient. And what about the data consistency? Very low, because it may this approach may cause a lot of issues in terms of humans may because of human errors. What is that basically? So one wrong number or misspelled name, or maybe the spelling mistake, or maybe the duplicate entries, and the whole data set becomes unreliable. Unreliable, right? It will create a lot of issues, lot of inconsistency, right? Multi-user access. So we are talking about in the data sharing, so about the kind of multi-user access only, right? How is that even possible? One person can only use the file at a time. Two employees or three employees, more than two employees can't view the same ledger simultaneously, same book simultaneously, right? Lot of problems, right? What about the redundancy? Redundancy means duplicate entries. It is very higher chance of redundancy, right? There is no control actually. Basically, you are not having any kind of validations here. Validations, I mean, like suppose let's say whenever you are storing the data, assume in the databases you will be having a proper structure and a proper format and proper rules. What are the rules, right? You will be having constraints, set of rules will be there. Suppose let's say there is a column with a primary key. Are you able to enter the duplicate records? No, it won't allow the invalid data, right? Whereas in paper-based approach, you don't even know exactly whether you are writing the unique record, or maybe whether you are entering the same duplicate record you are writing. You don't even have idea. You don't even have the control, right? There are so many issues that we are listing out. We'll see the next one: data integrity. That is what we are talking, right? So very difficult to maintain. Data integrity difficult to maintain. You can't even guarantee whether the data that you have, it is very accurate data or not. Throughout your file, throughout your business data, one particular customer related data, if you see, so all the books, all the ledgers, you have to maintain the same accurate data. right? You can't say you can't give the confirmation, like you can't guaranteely say that it is accurate record throughout all the business data, because you don't have any formal conditions, formal validations for that. What about the automation support? You can't even think about this feature. Okay, so none, because everything is completely manual here, right? Are you getting? Right. What about the reporting and analysis? Very, very important activity we will do every day as part of data analysis, or maybe as part of database developer activity. So this is a kind of very regular activity, automation related things and reporting and analysis related things, right? But what about the when you are storing the data in the manual approach, right? Yes, you have to create the reports manually, right? There is no option, you have to create everything by hand. So this involves lot of efforts. It is very slow, prone to the mistakes as well, right? Okay, you are saying that so many problems are there, we have listed so many problems are there, but what kind of businesses it is very much suitable, best suitable for? Tell me. Yes, traditional shops, maybe they can use this approach. Very small scale businesses and small organizations with a moderate data, but I can say that this also not a valid point. Small organizations also nowadays they are using the better approach, because of we are in the digital era, right? There are so many problems we have seen, right? So now we will understand in a more depth. The few people are asking to cover this particular definition, data consistency and data integrity point. Okay, let us see what is data consistency, right? So data consistency means, the same data will be maintained throughout the application, throughout the business data. Everywhere it is same, there is no change, there is no difference. Data consistency will ensure that, so data whatever is there, it should not contradict across the different places. Okay, there should not be changes, everything is same, everywhere it is same, right? Let us take an example. Okay, there is a customer named Ramesh Kumar has placed an order. Okay, some orders related data. Now let us see in the sales ledger. You can say that sales book. Okay, you can say that sales book also. His name is recorded as Ramesh Kumar. Okay, your written his name as a Ramesh Kumar in the sales ledger, and then now see here in the delivery register, your written his name as a Ramesh K. Right, and in the payment book you written his name as a Ramesh. There is a spelling mistake, Kumar, or how do you pronounce it? Cumar, right? Spelling mistake is there. So what we are saying basically, with respect to the data consistency, so you have to maintain the same data throughout all your applications, or throughout all your registers. Sales register may be delivery related or payment related. Now if someone tries to look about Ramesh Kumar's data, so in different places you have a different name, there is a lot of consistency problem here, right? Inconsistent data makes a lot of problems. So it will lead to the right, so unreliable decision making. You can't even rely on this particular things, right? Meaning, so the data is inconsistent, or consistency, then you can rely, you can depend on that particular data. If data is having inconsistency, you can't even think about that particular situation where decisions is making wrong, right? Something like this, you can see, observe on this image where we are talking about the inconsistent data. Different places you are writing the name in a different way, right? Right. Okay, now you understood the data consistency. What is that meaning? So throughout the data, throughout your business data, you have to maintain in a proper way. Same. Are you getting? You want to see again? You have to write the same data everywhere in a simple way. Okay. Yes. What is the data integrity? No, in the previously, with respect to the data consistency, you were saying that you have to maintain the same data everywhere. But now here you observe carefully, data integrity ensures that data is correct. You have to write the correct data everywhere. Okay. The data must be complete and correct, accurate, trustworthy. So it will check the validity and accuracy of the data, right? We will see example. Now see here, let us say that the cashier, that invoice related information, cashier is written that invoice total is 3000 rupees, right? But under the received payment they accidentally written 30,000 rupees, right? There is no accurate, there is no accuracy here, right? Because we are expecting the accurate data. That means there is no data integrity, right? Because it is not accurate data or valid data. Because in one place you written differently, in another place you written differently, right? Even though you written so same the data, invoice total is 3000 and received payment is 30,000 throughout your all the books, but still it is a not accurate. That is why we are saying that there is no data integrity for this particular data, right? Let us take another example. So we can say that if someone is erasing the payment entry in the cash book and writes the different value without approval, without proper approval, someone is coming and changing the some related payment related information. It will lead to a lot of problems, right? Integrity. So because of data is compromised, integrity of data is compromised. How can someone come and change the payment related information without proper approval, right? See, you can see this example and you can understand. So even though you are maintaining the same data at every place, but that is not accurate data, right? That's what we are telling in the data integrity part. And someone is coming and changing the data without proper approval, right? Where is the integrity here? Right. So now we have seen the lot of problems, right? Let us go back and to the table again. So now when we adopted the paper based approach, which is a manual approach, so we have listed so many problems, right? That is fine, but what is the solution, right? Can you tell me? Why are we moving to the other approaches compared to the manual storage approach? So earlier there is no other option than storing manually, right? Manual storage was the only option available. It worked very fine for the very small scale businesses, but as and when the data volume is increases, this method quickly become outdated and very risky and very inefficient. That is why, so we now rely on the computer based storage mechanism, and also we have now recently we have adapted since 30 maybe 40 years, so database approach, the more speed and accuracy and scalable, right? Let us understand the other one, right? The huge volume of data, to handle the huge volume of data securely and reliably, business moved to the computer based storage mechanism. So what it is actually providing you? Permanent storage in hard disk, right? You can store permanently in a hard disk, right? You can't even think about a damaging by some kind of risk, and yeah, it is very less compared to the paper based approach, right? But and also you will be having a secured access with the usernames and passwords, and you can search very easily, and also support, it will support for the automation as well, and very good backup and recovery options also available. Yeah, I can say limited recovery and backup option is there, but very better, very much better compared to the paper based approach, right? Okay, so this is again yeah, comparison. I just to make you understand in a more better way. So what is the data integrity and consistency difference? You can say this, what it ensures: data integrity will ensure that data is correct and valid. Okay, example that we have seen, 3000 and 30,000 rupees related thing, right? 30,000 is received instead of 3,000, so they could have written 3,000 only, but they written 30,000, which is a wrong basically, right? It is a inaccurate, not accurate data. What about the data consistency? Data is same everywhere. Data is same everywhere. It is wrong or accurate or not accurate, we don't bother in terms with respect to the data consistency, but it has to be same everywhere. Okay, right? So in the next lectures, we are going to see computer based storage mechanism, which is the file based system, where we will be understanding the how the data will be stored in the files, right? And what are the different problems when we are storing the data in the files, and then we will understand how the computer based system avoided few of our problems that we have listed in the table in the previous slides, right? And what are the problems of the computer based system, which is the computer files, right? Why we moved to the file management system, and again file management system also there are some problems are there, and then why we moved to the DBMS, how the DBMS is overcome all the problems. We will try to understand one by one, step by step. Okay, but now for this lecture you try to understand, concentrate mainly on the terminologies that we have introduced, right? All right, thank you.